Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's coffee chat. I know many of you have been coming with us on a regular basis, and I appreciate that. Tim Heckerman, I have to say something about you. He comes in every single morning. You are awesome, and you're going to be in a good treat today. We've got Grier Allen here today, who has been telling me some really interesting things about his company and his business and his two 6 and 9 year old boys. Is that right? Who
Six
are
and nine. That's
a
right.
little out of control right now, but that's to be expected. Um, yeah, so let's just jump in real quick, and then we'll get into the conversation because there's a lot of fun stuff I want to tell you about. So first, for those of you who haven't been, I know a lot of people are on Zoom these days, but on here, if you go over to the starting panel, our control panel, you'll see the little thing that says questions. Just click on that and ask a question anytime that you want. We really want these to truly be conversations, and Greer's got lots of great insights, so it'd be great for you to ask him any questions that you see fit. So Grier is the CEO of Boomtown, the company that actually began in 2006 and launched in 2008. I'm going to have him talk about that in a minute. But now has really been one of the leading digital marketing platforms out there for agents and brokers. I hear great things from a lot of my clients that feel like they really can't live without their Boomtown. I don't know if they call it. It's kind of like it's almost like a verb now. I'm boomtowning. Do you hear that, Grier? It's kind of it's a verb, which is pretty cool. Um, so maybe before we jump into the slides, why don't you tell us a little bit about, we had a great conversation this morning about when you started your business and why you started it then, and how you think that worked out for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Marilyn, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, and I'm glad to be talking about all this morning. And hopefully, we'll have some things to share with some folks that'll be helpful for them in their businesses. But yeah, so we started Boomtown back in 2006, and prior to that, I've kind of spent my whole entire life around real estate. So my dad was a top producing real estate agent for one of the largest brokerages here in Charleston. So I learned a lot through osmosis of him working deals at night at home. And I was telling Marilyn earlier, I learned about the internet back in 97, and sort of grabbed onto that, and really started to kind of learn how to program things. And I went to Clemson for college and did computer science there, and came out and started working for Carolina One Real Estate, which is the large brokerage here in Charleston, and started working in their marketing department. And through that experience, I learned that there was a lot of inefficiencies. There wasn't a lot of companies that were really leveraging the internet. And so I started a digital advertising company after that, did that for 2 years, and then realized I wanted to get back into real estate and really focus on this industry, just because of the passion I had for it, to be able to leverage the technology side of my brain, and also the digital marketing side of my brain that I learned in that digital agency environment, to really make real estate agents successful. And that's a very simple explanation of what we wanted to do, but that is the mission that Boomtown and all 350 employees live by today. But starting a company in 2006 in real estate, it was gangbusters in 06, and people were spending money like crazy. And we went through a couple pivots with our business model, but obviously everybody knows what happened in 2007 and 2008, and that was a pretty scary time for us. We had mortgaged our home, so we didn't take the big venture capital checks that a lot of people take to start technology companies. And so it was scary, because I was paying my first mortgage with my home equity line of credit at that point in time, and so was my co-founder Cooper. So the biggest thing that we said to ourselves during that time, it was great having a co-founder there to kind of help balance out the nerves on either side as we saw the financial collapse coming. But we were just like, we just stayed focused. We just stayed focused on what we were trying to build and bring to market, and I'm thankful that we did.
Yeah, so let's now jump forward to our next economic crisis that we're living through right now, and in addition to all kinds of other types of crises. What words of advice do you have? But what did you learn then that you would say to people around the call today about how do they come out of this stronger than ever, and how do they come out beating competition in ways they never thought they could?
Yeah, so it's, back then it was a time where, where everybody's sphere of influence, everybody's past clients, you know, everything that they had in terms of their tools to, their traditional tools to drive more business had completely dried up. And so when we launched in 2008, we started to attract some of the top teams in the industry. And to this day, we have 40% of the top 250 teams on the Real Trends 250 list by transactions. So, so what we got was sort of a front row seat to see what they were doing, and we listened very intently to our customers and basically innovated to help them with what they felt they needed to do to be successful in a market like that. And so back then it was, there was, tons of foreclosures, tons of short sales. One thing that we did was just focus our digital advertising campaigns around those types of keywords. And we were able to generate leads at half the cost of what, other competitors that weren't able to adapt. And I think the biggest thing when I look back and think about this and think about where we are today is I think a Jack Welch quote, which is, if the rate of change outside of your company exceeds the rate of change inside, then the end is near. And this was certainly a more dramatic impact and a faster impact with the pandemic coming to actual transaction volume. And so it's easy to be a deer in headlights at a time like this. And so you really have to focus on your mindset and really think about what do I need to change about my business in order to be successful now, but also to set myself up for success going into a market where we're going to start to rebound and start to get how can I set myself up for success in a market where we're rebounding quickly and gain market share from our competition.
That's great. I mean, that's exactly why we're doing coffee chats, is because we know the people that are taking the time to tune in to hear from smart people like you are here to figure that out, right? They're proactive. I've been talking to a lot of probably some of your customers, but top producing brokerages and teams. I actually talked to Robert Slack Realty, the largest team I think in Florida. They may be
Oh
one
yeah.
of yours, I don't know. And they are just getting in it. They're getting busy. They luckily had a lot of tools already in place, right? Because they'd already been proactive, but they were getting even, they're doing things now differently and adjusting, and also learning about, I'm going to say learning about taking advantage of the fact that a lot of companies are providing discounts right now, right? And so they're getting into programs that they could maybe use for 12 or 18 months at a price that they would never be able to get it normally, right? So that another good lesson about when you buy something in 2008, just like using contractors during a recession, right? You're going to build your house a lot less expensively because they're going to sharpen their pencils as well.
Absolutely. No, there's no question. And this is, I mean, it's a good time to start. This is a good time to start forming the muscle around these types of activities. And a lot of those people that adopted Boomtown in 2008 and 9, those are the ones that we see on the top of the, that are doing 500, 1,000, 2,000 transactions a year, because they formed that muscle when they needed to. And the agents adopted that because that was, their means of survival at that time. And so they started really developing that muscle, and it really just drove their success from year over year for the last 8 to 10 years.
Awesome. Well, you've got some really interesting statistics. I want to jump us into those, and then let's talk about what Boomtown does too, because I think the people here can benefit from what you do. But let's just look at this. You did a study, I guess, on COVID-19 impact on online home shopping. I'd love to hear more about that. But so let's just jump into this. Tell us what some of these slides are showing us here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we started to look at was, how is this impacting, number one, how is this impacting, our clients and where they traditionally get other lead sources that they use. I mean, people use Boomtown for lead generation, but really the core of why they use Boomtown is more for the CRM, to be able to house all of their opportunities and past clients. And so we started seeing signs, and this was Mike Del Preti who, if you don't follow him, he's a great guy to follow, really data driven. He has great analysis on his website, mikedp.com. But this was a graph that we pulled off of his website with his permission, just showing, what the impact was on the leads. And, leads are the lifeblood of every single business. You can see here, there's a 30% drop in the amount of leads from Zillow, which is and other U.S. portals are down 28%. And so seeing that metric, it is really kind of a scary thing, because that's the livelihood for a lot of businesses out there. But what I'd say is that when we look at our own stats on our Boomtown websites, and if you want to go to the next slide, Marilyn, what I would say is that, maybe go back one on that.
Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I think we got a double click there.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah. So what we started to look at was two different things. Number one, are consumers still out there? Are they still actively engaging in the website? And these first two metrics really speak to that. So if you look, this is comparing March 2020 versus February 2020, so month over month change. So we did see a drop in the number of active consumers that were looking at the website, but we actually saw sessions per user increase, and these numbers are actually up, up from March in April. So I think it's following the trend of what you're seeing. Showing Time's got some good data on like how many showings are being scheduled. That's going up. The MLS data that I've seen that clients have shown us, we're starting to see this bottom hit, probably 50% down on listings as well as new pendings. And but we're starting to see that creep down to maybe 35, probably 30% today. So nationwide, we're starting to see the rebound happening. We just don't know how long. And pray to God that that we don't hit a situation where we have to go back down into another trough because we come out of shelter in place too soon. But the really astonishing thing that I've seen is these next three metrics, which focus on really the paid advertising piece. And we're actually up 8% month over month, still utilizing 99.9% of our clients' budget. So our clients give us, say $1,000 advertising budget per month. Our goal is to spend all of that, but not more than that, every single month, and efficiently squeeze as many valuable leads out of that as we possibly can. So we were able to squeeze 8% more leads out of the same budget that we had from February to March at a cost per lead that was actually 11% less. So what that tells me is that Google and Facebook, they work in an auction type of format. So it's all based on supply and demand. And when others are pulling out of the market, where you see Zillow and other U.S. portals, their volume's going down. And this has something to do with them pulling out of their advertising efforts. And so this is a great opportunity for you to jump in and go after that. And so the form completions, that last metric there, up 15%. We've been quick to adapt in our business as well. We've been quick to adapt based on what we're learning from our customers. One of the biggest things is we can't get into a house today, and we can't go see it. But in some areas, the agent can go there, and go to the house and do a virtual home showing for a consumer. And so we added that to all of our customers' websites, and that has been astonishing to see, the consumer behavior. We're actually up 15% in a market where we have fewer users visiting the website. There's 15% more people that are filling out forms saying, I want to schedule a time for this agent to virtually walk me through this home. And so, you wonder if that sort of metric and that sort of improvement spells out, hey, this is something else that we should be doing no matter what whether we're in a pandemic situation or not. That's something that
the other thing I've heard from other people that have been on the show is that your point about that the cost per lead has gone down, but they've also said that even though there's fewer leads, they're so much more well qualified and so much more interested. So I think that's consistent with the form completions, don't you?
Absolutely. That's a great point. Yep. So the people that are coming to the website, the people that are coming to look at real estate, they're highly motivated. They have a real reason to buy or sell. And they're not just looking around because, those folks are probably, off, homeschooling their kids at this point in time. So
Exactly.
yeah, we can go to the next slide here, Marilyn, that just has a couple more bits of information about, the middle of the funnel. So if you think about, and Marilyn and I were talking a little bit about funnel. I think about, we like to think about it as, there's three things that you do to grow your real estate business. Number one is you fill the top of the funnel with new lead generation, new prospecting, and so you could be doing door knocking or online lead generation. Right now, today, online lead generation is the place to be because the consumer is still open for business in the digital world. And so the middle of the funnel is really prospecting your database, thinking about retargeting those consumers with valuable information about the market in a time like this, or and just re-engaging them through calls and text messages, and using a tone that is really focused on empathy and trying to understand their situation. And we can get into more about what I'm hearing from agents here shortly. But these are some metrics from the digital side on what we're seeing, from our re-engagement campaigns, the retargeting that we're doing on behalf of our customers. Week over week, social impressions up 35% with the
Wow.
same bid strategy, and then securing impressions at under a cent. So
Wow.
people are flocking to their Facebook feeds right now, and this is a perfect opportunity to leverage that medium and other social media, mediums to really get out in front of your potential customers and your customers.
And while we're on that topic, Grier, I would love to ask the audience, how many of you number one, use the word funnel and think about your
Yeah.
business that way. But how many of you feel like you figured out a way to really, on a regular basis, sort of, do what Grier was talking about, sort of fill the top with new opportunities, work that middle of the people that either came in from online or that you've not, you've known through other open houses or all the other ways that you generate opportunities to have a sphere. And then then think about, how am I going to get that listing presentation, how am I going to close that listing and or get a new buyer, and then ultimately, as I say, we were laughing about it, sort of the pot of gold at the bottom of the funnel, right? It's like where the leprechaun has all the gold, right? How many of you on the call think of your business that way right now? Just out of curiosity, I'd love to just throw a few comments in there. So Peter says, can fill the top. The problem is the follow-up. Yeah, I think you're right, and that's kind of what a system like a Boomtown is designed to do, right? Grier, is to help you not just, like, I use a visual of a leaky bucket, right? So you fill it with all these great leads, and there's holes all over the bucket, and all the leads fall out, and you lose them, and you wasted your time and money, right? How do you not do
Absolutely.
that? That's the key question, right?
It's hard, very hard, and that's we recognize that from a very long time ago. I mean, it's hard to put that type of accountability, and especially if you're just a general broker, you don't for teams it's a little bit easier. You can add accountability metrics and really kind of push those down to through the organization. But if you're in a general broker situation, that's a difficult thing. And that's we actually launched a brand new service that is getting much higher adoption, and this is something that people are buying from us during a time where dollars are hard to come by, is a service to actually service all these leads. We call success assurance. So we manage the top of the funnel in terms of the digital advertising, but then we manage all the initial follow-up with those leads and driving those more ready buyers and sellers to our customers. And the adoption is curve on that is just shifted and is starting to go up, because agents are even though the bottom of the funnel is still this area that that has been delayed or pushed out, you still have all the distractions of working from home that are going on, and they want to make sure that if they're spending on digital, that they're not wasting their money. And so we do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week coverage for them to be able to manage those leads, because you're right, it's a leaky bucket, and unless you have the right processes and people in place to do that, and what we've learned is that we can learn at scale. We're engaging more leads in a month. I think over 50,000 leads a month we're engaging through that service today, and so that's more than an agent might engage in a lifetime. So we're learning very fast on how to do that very well.
So Cheryl says she doesn't call it a funnel, she calls it a pipeline, which that's a similar
That's
concept.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, I like the funnel because it's like gets bigger and it gets smaller because you don't have as many deals you close as the ones that you start with. But that's a great one too. And she says she agrees with the sort of three stages of, get them in, warm them up, and then close them and do what you need to do. Other people said they do use CRMs. Um, and Robert asks, how does he manage and understand agent usage? Agent usage of the CRM, I guess, in the whole system. That's a good question. How do you, do you give people transparency on what you're doing for them, how their response is helping or hurting the process, and you kind of coach them along the way with data to show them what's working and what isn't? That's a good question.
absolutely. That is a great question, Robert. And the answer is, there's multi-pronged approach that we've used there. And so one of the most successful reports that we've created in Boomtown is called our Vitals report. And
Hmm.
so it takes six primary metrics. So, it takes your initial lead follow-up, and Boomtown actually pulls insights about high activity users within on consumers on the website when they're displaying higher activity than they typically do, and we pop that onto kind of a newsfeed style wall for them. And so one of the things that we've found is that most successful teams are engaging with those high value leads when they're in that high value mindset. And so what the Vitals report does is it not only measures how you're doing on all those metrics, but also compares you to other Boomtown users that have similar tenure. So you can see that you're in the 65th percentile of all Boomtown users and similar tenure to you today. And that's been really great, and given people the ability to sort of dive in and see where they need to be more efficient and more effective, and where they need to coach their team members, or in the general brokerage sense, where they need to kind of give advice to members of their agents in their brokerage.
So one of the questions that's coming in is, if obviously we know that things are changing. You've already shown us that things are changing pretty dramatically, and it's pretty intuitive, obviously, that we know that it is. But if you have, let's say with a client, let's say someone that isn't yet in your system, right? What would you say are the one, two, three things that they should be, that you've seen happening right now, that they should be adjusting to or getting involved with? That'll make their
Okay.
their
Yeah.
online marketing more effective.
Yeah, I mean, I think one is just be mindful of the medium. I think that right now, people are consuming news, and people are consuming social media content, so that's just a great place to be.
Hmm.
I would say leverage CRM, and don't get caught in another downturn situation like this um, without having a CRM. I think there's a lot of agents out there that that right now are sort of kind of like an ostrich burying their head in the sand, because they don't know what to do. They don't have the sphere of influence that that was sort of ripe with opportunity before. This is the time where you need to work the relationships in a system that you can manage. So and then number three, I think it's adapting your practices. I'd say the biggest thing that I'd say is video. You know, getting online, and Marilyn, kudos to you for for launching this. 5 days a week doing one of these, and educating the and bringing content to the industry. That's awesome. And we need to be doing the same thing for the home buyers and sellers that are out there. And whether that's one-to-one type of things that you're doing to show somebody a house, or get the seller to show the house over FaceTime or Zoom, where you're involved with a buyer, or it's video open houses. We're seeing a lot of success with just 15-minute video open houses, where people are posting it to their social channel, allowing people to come in and allowing people to ask questions about the property. And those have been highly successful. But in a time like this, I talk to companies like BombBomb, and their adoption shooting through the roof, because people are understanding, the smart agents are understanding that this is going to be a behavioral change that sticks. And
Yep.
consumers do want to get a deeper dive into the house without having to go to the house themselves. And so consumer behavior, the consumer really drives most of the change in this industry. And so I think on the other side of this, we're going to need to be a lot better at leveraging video.
I agree with you. In fact, we had Boomtown on a few days ago, and they did some. They told us about some great things that are happening. And the thing about video too, while I love BombBomb, they do some really cool stuff, and we all should look at that. If you can't afford it or haven't gotten there yet, we have this thing called FaceTime on our phone, right? And it's so easy
Right.
now. We have so much more video capabilities literally in our hand than we've ever had before. I would also suggest too that for any of you that, all of you that check with your local MLS, because a lot of them are making it a lot easier to promote virtual open houses now. In fact, I just I'm going to be publishing an article shortly about a great one called virtualhousesearch.com, which is down in the Palm Beach area. They've created a whole virtual open house website that's all about that. But I know that CoreLogic, the Matrix product, many of you probably have that, FBS, a few of the others of the MLS systems that you're used to using now have a tab instead of where it would just say open house, right? We can't use those anymore. There's a virtual open house, and then it allows you to put in exactly what Grier's talking about, the time, it's 2 o'clock from, register now, download the Zoom or whatever format that they're using. And it's becoming a thing across the country. And I agree with you. In fact, we just got another question today from TZ about that there's still worry, well, no one's going to buy a house with a virtual open house. I'd love to hear your perspective on this, Grier, but I've heard from a lot of the top producing agents that in fact that is not true anymore, that just literally within the last 10 days, seems like we're living in dog years now. Every day is like 6 months, right? That virtual open houses are selling from those. Are you seeing that with your group as well?
Without question. Yeah. I mean, I know an agent that did 5 of them this past Sunday, and I think they got 2 written offers from that. So it's working. It is absolutely working. And if you're in there and you can go into the separate rooms and kind of answer their questions and do those types of things, then yeah, I mean, people are going to make offers. I mean, like I said, I mean, there are people out there that have the necessity to move right now, and those are the people that you can find and while doing some of those open houses. And Marilyn, to your point, what's happening in the MLS space, they're adding that field for the virtual open houses, and we've actually pivoted the design of our consumer websites to be able to show those as well. So we're able to allow consumers to filter by those and see when a virtual open house is tied to a specific listing. So it's a great way.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a great way. I mean, you think about all the IDX websites that are out there, that are getting traffic, and you can you're basically leveraging the power of that whole entire IDX network of websites to promote an open house on for you. So it's a great tool.
Well, Dennis is saying that his thoughts are, how do you educate the buyers, because he's still getting some pushback on that. And I'm sure every client isn't jumping right over the top and saying, I'm going to do that. But I did hear another good piece of news about virtual. We did a session yesterday with NAR, and Bob Goldberg, NAR CEO, came on. He said that there's now 20 states that have authorized e-notarizations for contracts and for things. Awesome. And he said it's rolling really quickly. It started with 1, and it's like, hopefully that's one great thing that'll come out of this, is that we'll get all the states to approve that. There's also a whole bunch of work now on like companies like trust funds or Earnest, who have a way to collect earnest money checks instead of having to drive around, because can't do that either. And of course, we've always had transaction management systems, right? And most MLSs now offer one of those. If not, a lot of brokerages offer those. And Zip Forms is usually free through your brokerage, or through your MLS. So there's ways to do the whole process online now, right? And as long as we can get consumers to come with us, so that's awesome.
Absolutely. And I think most consumers, I mean, to the question earlier about how do you educate the consumer on this, some of them are just going to, most people are still going to want to go view that home and see it in person. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, personally, me, I would want to go through that house, but think about the time it could save you, in terms of, if you did a virtual open house or a virtual showing for someone, or a lot of our clients are actually building libraries of the recorded virtual home tours that they've done in their listings and other listings, and sending that to people. But it saves you so much time from having to go view 5 different homes with a potential buyer. You might be able to narrow that down to 2. And so those are efficiencies that are being created from this. And Marilyn, you made a really good point about just the efficiencies that are being created out of necessity on the transactional side of the equation. And that's huge. And I've heard a lot of our clients that are doing a lot of high volume, like, just rejoicing because of that, because it's going to save them so much time of having to drive around and get things notarized. All those different things are now, being pushed digitally, and a lot of the regulation around those are being removed out of necessity, which is great for the industry.
Exactly. So I put up a slide here for you. What are you going to do for our audience? What are you going to give them, Grier? They need deals. They need good stuff. What do you got
Yeah.
for them?
No, I would highly encourage you guys to go to just this resource right here. This is a page that we stood up just to have informative information about how to thrive in this market. This is curated content that we're finding on different blogs. This is video content that we're finding about, when agents are talking specifically about, the ins and outs of, the tactics of implementing some of the strategies that we've talked about on this call, and some downloads, that are helpful, from shifting your mindset to, kind of, slides, about how, how we can look at the market data and how this is not like 2008. How do you educate, your customers on why this is not like 2008, where housing was a big part of the problem, or at least mortgages were a big part of the problem. I really truly believe that housing is going to be a part of the economy, a sector of the economy that is going to build, basically bring us out of this. There's just so much demand, and I think the traffic on these websites, these consumer website traffic numbers that we're seeing are indicative of that. I think once we get to a state of new normal, that could be good. So go here, guys. This is boomtownroi.com/here for you. There's some good resources in there for you for free, for download, whatever you want to do with that. But if you want to learn more about Boomtown, I mean, really, Marilyn, what we focus on is growing real estate businesses and making them successful. And so we do that through managing digital marketing, but really the core of our technology is the consumer engagement platform, which is the website and the newly released mobile app that that all their consumers can use, and just the valuable data and insights that they can get from that on really what's the core of our technology, which is the CRM, to be able to manage all those relationships. And in a time like this, a CRM is just invaluable, and we do have some promotions running. Go to our website, talk to our sales team, and we'll help you to navigate what those opportunities are, those limited time opportunities are.
Okay, so I wanted to let us know, all of you guys, and if you look on open up the little button that says chat and click on that triangle, it'll open it up for the links if you want. Tomorrow, actually, speaking of virtual open houses, we've got Christy Keneally from Realtor.com talking about how they now have the functionality to publish and to promote the live stream open houses, as they're calling them, to their millions of viewers every day. So not only will be at the MLS, not only can you do it in your own local digital efforts, but now you'll be able to do it nationally too, which is awesome. And I believe Zillow might have some of the same functionality. So grab that link, which is in there right now, and register for that one. And then we also have on Monday, speaking of social media, we have Jed Carlson, who's the CEO from AdWorks. He's going to talk to us about, again, some more digital types of ideas about how do you survive. If anybody hasn't checked out AdWorks, that's a whole other great platform to look at too. You can register for that one. And if anybody wants us to register you for all of these things, just put your name in the question or chat box right now, and we'll do that for you. Also wanted to tell you that RE Technology has some freebies for you too. First, if you go to RE Technology Inc., which is our YouTube channel, and if you click on the little bell that's next to subscribed, and if you click on subscribe for the channel and then click on that, you'll get notified every time a webinar recording comes out from the coffee chats or the other webinars that we do on RE Technology. So if you want to I laugh about it, but there's a playlist there that's just coffee chats. If you're tired of binge watching, you've watched every show that you like on Netflix, you can come binge watch coffee chats. It's probably a little better for your brain than the stuff we've been watching. I started to watch Better Call Saul the other day. Like, oh, it was so dark, I couldn't do it. Anyway, the other thing is if you don't currently have a subscription to RE Technology, if you go to retechnology.com, click on the Create Account button, and send up for the monthly program, use one of these discounts, depending on what type, if you're an agent, broker, an MLS executive, you'll get a free subscription. So you'll be able to see not only the coffee chat content, but we do all kinds of art. We publish 7 new educational articles every single day, and there's a directory of all of the technologies that are available, and they're organized by category. So if you want to look at what those CRMs look like that Grier's been talking about as an example, go there and you'll see a whole bunch of them. You'll see Boomtown, but you'll see a whole bunch of other ones as well. So thanks again to everybody for attending. Appreciate that. And Grier, you were awesome. Thank you so much for giving us all of these ideas and things to do. I got to tell you, Boomtown really is I hear it, and this isn't me talking, and it's not because Grier's here. I hear it a lot from agents that it sounds like it takes a lot of the, I don't want to say the guesswork, but kind of like if you're an agent, your job is to go out and be with people and call your agent or call your clients and build relationships and understand the market. It isn't necessarily to become a digital marketing expert, right? That's a whole other job. So Grier takes that job and just does it for you. And he just feeds you business, basically. He puts it at that top of the funnel, right? He feeds it to you, and that helps you continue to move them down that funnel. So again, you get the pot of gold at the end, which is what we're all looking for, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So,
right now, especially more than ever, it's about predictability and certainty. And everything we're doing is trying to help our customers to create more predictability and certainty in their future business prospects. And so that's our focus. And we definitely see this as a partnership with the exact type of person you just described, Marilyn, somebody that is great at doing things face to face, being the local expert and focusing on that, and let us handle the rest.
Exactly. So, and if I know I've gone through this myself in this, I don't even know what do we call this time we're in? I don't know. It's unprecedented. We have these moments when you're panicked and you can't sleep and you're worried about your children, and then you want to kill your children, and we go through all these different things all day long. But I feel like we're getting to a place now where we've hit that new normal. It's like, all right, I get it. The world's not going to end. I'm going to be okay. I can see the glimmers of hope that we're going to come out of this. Now it's time to get busy, right? If you've been thinking and contemplating, now's the time to say, I got to go do something. Because if you don't, we're going to come out of this and you're going to be right where you ended up, right? You want to come out of this saying, geez, for all that pain and strain, I got something out of it. And, Boomtown's just one example of something you can do. So anyway, thank you so much. Thanks for the kind words about that. This was a great session from Dennis and Walter and several others. I appreciate that. Keep coming back. We've got more and more of great sessions with Jed and Realtor.com and all kinds of stuff. So thanks again, everybody. Go have a great day or have a great lunch if it's here on the East Coast, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.